Hi everyone, happy holidays. I wanted to go back over the backing up and restoring Kubernetes clusters when you have multiple cluster environments, just because we had issues going over it during our study sessions. I just wanted to make a standalone video just for this. With that, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I've already got our multiple clusters opened up with a SSH into each one, and plus our ETCD server. And I have also set the API to version 3. That is where we're starting from. And we can go ahead and get started. The first, we didn't really have issues with this. It is just backing up the configuration for your cluster. And they're asking us to back up for the one for cluster 1. So we'll just jump on the cluster 1 and back it up. And of course, you can always follow the documentation that we have, kubernetes.io. We're just going to go do exactly that. Remember that when you are backing it up, when you're restoring, that you will have the different, if you do already have a data directory, you will need an empty directory to back up to. That's what the dash dash data directory is parameters for. We are just taking a snapshot, so we do not need that at the time being. Yep, should be good to use this. I just need this part. Remember, you will need to change this to point to your etcd etcd server in the case that it is not a stacked server. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna end up needing our certs and keys. For that, we can grab that from our API server. So let's go ahead and do describe. Sorry, you grab it from your etcd server. I'll describe our etcd cluster pod, and we want to grab specifically for commands, as they will contain just forgot to capitalize the C here. Yeah, so this is what we want, as we will have our cert file here, and we also have our key right here, and our CA cert is gonna be down here. All of these are needed for our backup. We'll go ahead and do the backup. Mentioning we'll just need a copy directly from our command here, our cert. Make this bigger just so you guys can see a little better. CA cert, which is gonna be down here. It is just the CA file. Go ahead, grab that. and our key, which is listed as a key file. Last time we'll do a snapshot, save, and we'll point to where we want to save it. They've specified here we want to save it to opt cluster 1 DB. Just double checking that is the correct syntax. All right. Part of the question, we do need to save this on the student node. So let's go ahead over to the student node. And what we can do is we can use SCP, which is a file transfer program, to move the files from the cluster 1 over to the student node. So we'll need for that, we can just use its domain name, which is going to be cluster 1 control plane. And you can also do this via IP. Control plane. And where we saved it was the /up cluster 1. There you go. And the fact that it autofills means that the file is there. I want to save it to the same directory on the student node. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, it's been transferred over. Let's check. All right, so we're good there. All right, so this is the part that we had issues with, was restoring the backup. And the main issue that we ran into was we just transferred the wrong file. We ended up restoring the cluster 1 file to our cluster 2. So we ended up messing up the configuration there. So just to make sure that we don't mess it up, we're just gonna go ahead and transfer the cluster 2 file now. Don't forget, we are transferring it to the cluster 2. Control plane. Yeah, cluster 2 DP. Looks good to me. Has been sent over. Well, in fact, cluster 2 does use an external ETCD server. So we actually need to transfer it over to the ETCD server. So let's go ahead and send it over there. ETCD server. All right, cool. So now we're gonna go ahead and restore the backup that we have. And we can check first on cluster 2. Let's see what pods are available. And we can do that by K. Get pods -A. This will give us all pods and all namespaces. As you can see, we just have the default, the system pods running. Okay, that started. With that said, we need to restore these critical applications. So to do so first, we'll need to turn off our API server. The simplest way that I like to do it is by just editing our manifest file. So let's go ahead and go over there. And it's gonna be in your etc Kubernetes manifest. And we need that kube API. So we're gonna go ahead and just add a hashtag at the start here. And we can go ahead. Now the kube API will not be available, so we will not be able to use kubectl to query it. So the workaround is we just use our cry-ctl ps, and that will list our pods as well. And as we can see, the kube API is down, so we can go ahead. Actually, still running, so down here. So let's give it a second here. We can actually watch this. Too late. The Cube API is down. Okay, yep. So let's go ahead and Control C out of that. And we can jump over to our ETCD server and go ahead and start restoring it. So we're gonna, first thing we need is we're gonna need the same information. We're gonna need our CA cert, our cert, and our key for this ETCD server. To do so, to get it from this, we're gonna need to query the service. So let's go ahead and we can do a yes-ef should give us all the services, and we want to grab specifically for etcd. See, all right, perfect. Here's the etcd, and let's go ahead. Curious if this looks better in the file. No, that does not necessarily look better. So let's go ahead and get out of here. And what we'll do instead, we'll do our previous command, and we'll just grab what we need. So grep cert file. Does not really help either. There's a way to separate this, but we're not gonna go into that right now. We can use what we got here to. So this should be fine. Go ahead and do our restore. Don't forget, we are going to need to restore it to a different data directory, as the one that we already have is already populated. And data directory they want us to use is going to be varlib etcd data new. So let's go ahead and copy that over. Paste. Restore. And I want to restore it from our file that they gave us. Okay, looks good to me. So we got to kick that out of the server. So let's go ahead and connect back to it. Sage etcd server. Okay. And I'm not sure if it, well, let's check if that directory is there. /ls. I want to do ls var lib etcd data is there, etcd data new is not there, so it looks like it didn't actually restore it. So we'll just go ahead and do that again. directory. Snapshot. Store. Directory restoring from. All right. All right, looks good to me. Double check. Let's see if that directory is now there. And it is. All right, so perfect. So now that we have restored to our new directory, now we have to point our etcd cluster to use the directory. So in this case, because it's an external server, it is running as a service. So we just need to restart that service with it pointing to the new directory. So before we do that, the first thing we're going to do is modify the service to use the directory. So for that, remember, as it is a service, it will be in etc system D. Here it is. D system. It should be in here. There it is, etcd service. So we want to modify this file. And if we look under the data directory, we just gotta add. And once that's click in there. And before I forget, we also need to, because we and I'll just show it to you here. So if we do an ls-l, so it's gonna be the var lib etcd data. All right, so as you can see here, the old data directory is owned by etcd user and group. Because we transferred the new one, or we created the new one, it is still owned by root. So we just need to modify that so it is owned by etcd as well, so we can use it for its service. So to do that, we just do a chmod, and we're going to be setting it to etcd user and etcd group, and then file is going to be our etcd data new. Did I forget something? Chmod. Sorry, not chmod. Chmod is going to be to change permissions. We need it your own to change ownership. All right, so once we have set the ownership, now we can go ahead. We've already set it to point to the new directory. Now we can go ahead and restart it. So for that, we're gonna do a system ctl daemon reload first. And then we'll do a system ctl and restart the service. So we're restarting our etcd service. Looks good. And looks like something failed. Let's go ahead and look at the status here. Directory. It's still owned by root. Let's do this. Hmm. Oh, okay. So it is owned by etcd, but the issue that I did not do it recursively. So I only changed the top file. everything inside is still owned by root. So let's take a look at that. This. You can see, yeah, everything inside is still owned by root. So let's go ahead and do an your own. And for that, we just need a -r at the end there. Now we look at that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and restart the service one more time. Perfect. All right, so that went through. And we'll now can do a PS -ef. And I want grep for ETCD. And if we look here, their directory is set to the new directory. All right, perfect. So now that we have our etcd server back up in good shapes, we can go back to our cluster 2. And we can do, let's go ahead and do or we will not be. So in the case of the etcd server being external, we won't be able to actually see it here as it is not on the machine itself. But all we have to do at this point is just restart our API server and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. As if you remember, the way we did turn it off is we just edited the file. So we just jump back on it and remove our edit. And we can watch some cube API. Oh, it's actually already running, as you can see there, 7 seconds ago. It's pretty quick. So it's running. We can go ahead and get pods -a. And as you can see, here's our critical deployment that we had to restore. So looks like we're all good. Just for, as we how we would do on the test itself, I'm just gonna double check this and make sure I didn't miss anything. CD backup for cluster 2 stored and up cluster 2DB. Use a snapshot file to carry restore cluster 2 with a new path. CD did I new. Once this restore is complete, ensure that control plane command cluster 2 are running. Snapshot was taken when there were objects created in the critical namespace on cluster 2, which is right here. These objects should be available post restore. If needed, make sure to set context cluster 2 in the student node. All right, so we should be good. Let's check. All right, fantastic. So that's the whole setup to restore your clusters. You just have to be mindful of what you're restoring, of course, when you're working in multiple cluster environments. And that's the only issue that we had when we did our study session. So with that said, today we just went over backing up our cluster and then restoring it when we have an external etcd server. Yeah, it gets a little complicated, but it is not impossible to get a grasp on. And of course, as with anything else, the more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you'll be at it, and you won't have these issues. Okay, with that, I'm gonna conclude the session for today. It's just gonna be a short one as it is the holidays. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Hope you guys achieve everything that you are trying to have set up for you next year. If you are watching it, well, this one's only going to be on YouTube. So if you found this valuable, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking to join our study sessions, just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Or just, even if you drop it in this YouTube channel, I could probably send you the information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.